Very good afternoon to you. Hello, I'm Dr Kish and welcome to What Med Media Facebook page. As you can see, I'm in desperate need of a haircut. I resisted the temptation for Super Saturday and Independence Day, so as it stands. But I was wondering whether you guys might have caught Boris's press conference today. Now, you may not have done because it was buried in a sort of daytime TV graveyard slot of 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And to be fair, I only caught a part of it because I was working. So I only got the end of it, interestingly enough, where people on Sky News Facebook page on live were saying things like, it's to do with Baroness Dido Harding. Hi, Tricia. It's to do with Baroness Dido Harding, and they were talking about things like, I will go down with this ship, and other Dido lyrics such as White Flag, etc., which I thought was quite funny in what is quite a worrying and disturbing time for many people. So I wanted to do a really quick video because I've got to do a call shortly, but I wanted to just chat to you guys about, firstly, just check in with you, see how you are. Also wanted to see what your thoughts were on the 12 o'clock press conference that happened this afternoon. But also, perhaps more importantly, it's a case of what's it like where you are, because wandering through the town centre, seeing shops open again, hairdressers open again, is brilliant, really, really important. Because you've got to remember, in each of these shops, there's a family and a livelihood that's really important. So if we can open up society again, open up communities, then it really is going to be a case of acting as a society where we're looking out for each other's best interests. For instance, somebody who's walking, if somebody who's disabled can't get out of their way, then it's upon the person that's walking to get out of their way. Equally, if I'm on a bike and I'm kind of going through a joint pedestrian highway, cycleway or whatever, then it's my responsibility to get out of the way of the people who are walking, because I can obviously move much faster on a bike. And that goes even more in terms of cars and pedestrians and, whatever. So wherever we engage in society, unfortunately, what it comes to, I think, or what it looks like it's coming to, is we're on our own, and it's up to us to make our decisions, because Boris essentially said, the bit that I saw, and I stand open to be corrected by anybody that's watching this, because I said that I only caught the last part of it, but me catching the last part of it that was buried in a daytime TV slot, my fear is that we're being left to it, and let's use British common sense and let's get on with it, right? Now, my real concern with that is I'm amazed how people have tired after lockdown for 3-4 months, right? Or however long it's been. Because as a clinician and as a doctor, I know what the alternative is. And make no bones about it, for the unlucky few, the alternative is death. The alternative is dying a horrible death with your lungs filling up with stuff called surfactant, not being able to breathe and not really surviving, right? So I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying this to firstly be completely open with you about the facts, and I think we do need to get out and about again, but we need to be able to get out and about in a proper way of life, and that means wearing mask and gloves in Pret, Michael Gove. That means not rolling out the business secretary, Alok Sharma, to try and defend the indefensible, right? If we have a political class that is telling us what is in our best interests, the least we can expect is for them to live by those same standards. And if that's a case of a mask and gloves in Pret, then I think it's really, really important. Hey, Candy, how you doing? And Candy makes a brilliant point, right? EKHUFT, I'm not sure what that is, has another record. The most COVID-19 deaths in a trust. Our local R is rising. I'm concerned at a local level. So the other thing that I've been following incredibly closely, because I've got lots of friends and colleagues there from my time at medical school in Leicester, is the complete lack of transparency if Sir Peter Soulsby, is it, the mayor, I'm not sure, and John Ashworth are to be believed, in the sense that they're saying that they've had absolutely no information from the government until last Wednesday and then this Wednesday when they had data dumped at them, right? We also had the mayor of Leicester coming out on Sky today saying that apparently it's a party political point, and Matt Hancock has opened up areas in the surrounding of the city because they're Tory kind of places, right? Let's try and not make this party political to that degree. Let's try and empower local communities with the data so that the local kind of political leaders or governance or councils or whatever can actually be in a position to make the best decisions. And we have to take it upon ourselves as citizens to be responsible, to make sure we wear masks, to make sure we wear gloves, and to make sure that we do as we're asked, okay? We kind of expect people like Michael Gove in PrEP to do the same. I don't think that's unreasonable to think of that, right? But then we also need to be very aware that this is far from over as it stands, okay? All we have to do is look at the global number of cases rising of COVID-19, right? The total number of cases rising around the world. Even if you look onto Facebook on the COVID-19 Information Centre, you'll see that there's been an uptake in daily cases. Now, you would not believe that if you only watched certain sources in the media as your only diet of news, right? So I'd really suggest you start opening your eyes to what's happening around the rest of the world. It's not unheard of that this might happen in this country, what's happening elsewhere, because it's been happening since December. The other thing that I would suggest is to be mindful of the fact when you're going outside, okay? So it's just a really short video for now. Spain is rising. Trisha, completely agree. Hi, Vanessa in Dorset, that's great. I've got to go in a sec, but if any of you guys have got any questions, please let me know, we'll answer them. Funnily enough, I walk with a walker and it's usually me who steps to the other side. I think we've got to get used to living like this and being considerate to others. Mainly I feel the government being slippery now and not giving clear advice. Helen Watkin. Thanks for that, Helen. That's really interesting you should say that. I don't know if you've seen what James O'Brien put out today. Really rate James O'Brien. He's a fantastic broadcaster and he's... he gave lots of junior doctors, myself included, a voice during the junior doctors contract dispute. And he also continues to speak truth to power. And it was quite interesting in terms of James O'Brien analysis of this, was basically that they're positioning themselves to blame us. When the excrement, so to speak, hits the fan and the UK cases go up even more, then it's a case of blaming the people, they didn't use their common sense, right? Sandra, listening from Scotland, we seem to be doing fairly well. Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, you are, but also we need to think about the population density as well, right? And obviously Scotland's a lot more rural, it's a lot easier for you to be social distancing. Although the clear messaging in terms of, hey look, somebody's waving, hello, you right? You right?
Yes, hello.
Good.
Hello.
So we've got to be really clear, right, that political points aren't made, because Scotland does have differences to the England and the UK as a whole and all that sort of stuff. I think what you do need to look at those, if you look at England and the numbers, and I don't know the answer to this, but you look at England, you look at the numbers, is that enough in terms of an argument, in terms of population density? I would suggest not. When there was Peter Stefanovic put a great thing out, I'm not going to go into details now because I'm short on time, but when he's talking about rewriting history, right? When he's talking about rewriting history, I think we need to be really mindful of that. And I think you need to open your eyes to the global media, the global press. I think we need to get used to the fact that this is going to be something that we're going to have to live with and deal with for the foreseeable future. I don't necessarily agree in terms of stuff like, it's your civic duty to eat out, to help out. I think people need to be made to feel comfortable. People need to be made to feel protected and understanding. And interestingly, look how we're going now towards COVID secure. It was COVID secure, but now we're saying COVID safe. I'd be really keen to know what the difference is. Also, Boris Johnson doesn't appear to know the difference between a pandemic and an epidemic, because he's interchangeably using the terms. I think that's important to notice. And the final thing is just to let you know that, we're not going anywhere. We've got a group of people working behind the scenes for all this. As I've said many times before, I'm the front man to this and the kind of public-facing, externally facing element of What Med Media. But we will continue crowdfunding, we will continue getting these videos out to people, and we will continue being popping up as and when needed. And today is one of those days, okay? So I'm not going to do it every day, not going to do it all the time, only when I feel we collectively can add value to this. So thank you very much for watching. I will check in on this later. There was one other comment or point that I wanted to make, which was, I think, a case of local lockdowns. I think it's a case of personal responsibility. I think it's a case of making sure that we actually look out for people. Oh, look, there's loads of people over there. That's cool. Hello, you all right? I don't know whether I should tell them to stay further apart. Maybe they should. Like and subscribe. Yeah, thank you very much. They were shouting like and subscribe. Stay further back, sorry. What Med Media? So WATMED Media. It's Facebook. No, don't worry, it's okay. Yeah, it's all right. You keep going, that's good, thank you. But just listen to people though, right? And stay apart from each other and be careful. All right? Thank you. Sorry about that. Joy, I'm a long hauler. Certainly didn't have serious COVID symptoms. Didn't know I had it. I'm now on day 112 and get various symptoms every few days. I'm worried that the long-term consequences are. I also feel as though we will be left on our own and lost in the ether. Thanks for all you do. Joy, let me assure you, you will not be lost in the ether. I don't know if we are friends on Facebook already, but please add me. And if you can't, after this, it won't be straight away, but I will come back into this and I will reach out to you. Because long COVID is something that I'm incredibly interested in giving time to and airtime to, and making sure that people are aware of it. And for those 71 people that I'm watching, right, for those of you who aren't aware, what is long COVID, I hear you ask? Well, remember back in the early days, we were told, and early days being March, it seems like a lifetime ago, but not that far away. But remember when people were saying, oh, just get it, you're young, you're fit, doesn't matter, just go out and catch it, right? I'm not going to lie, I also thought, I wonder whether it's a good time to go and get it while there's ventilator capacity. Thankfully, my better judgment kind of took over and I decided not to get it, right? But in the early days where we were told, just go out and get it, don't worry about it, it's not a problem. Bearing in mind the World Health Organization, from what I do know at that point, this was also around the same kind of time that they were mooting herd immunity as a possible thing. The World Health Organization came out and said it is completely irresponsible and morally and ethically wrong, right? Morally and ethically wrong to test a virulent pathogen on the public that we don't know what's going to happen with, right? And, you know, whether you like them or loathe them, and obviously Donald Trump loathes them and he's pulled funding from the World Health Organization, which is a terrible, terrible thing to do at a time where they're possibly needing the most. Hey, Soren, how you doing? I'm going to try and bring you on camera. Don't swear. Oh, yeah, what a terrible thing to do. What an absolutely terrible thing to do, right? In terms of losing World Health Organization funding. But that's fine. That's the world that we live in. But going back to what long COVID is, back in the day when people were saying, just get this, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. Unfortunately, that's not turning out to be the case. Now, Matt Hancock needs to be credited for this in terms of they had some 8 to 10 million pounds worth of studies that they were going to do, and they appear to have been responsive in terms of to a lot of the pressure that was put on them by Sky News and various other people that were stepping forward, saying that actually we need long-term research into patients that have got this long COVID syndrome. And long COVID is a multi-system or systemic disease that can affect people in really different ways, right? Very, very strange symptoms from whether it's mental fatigue, fog, inability to think clearly, inability to do anything, from pins and needles in the hands and feet, to chest pain, to a racing heartbeat, to bradycardia just sitting in the chair, right? Sarah, I've had ME for 26 years. A lot of post-viral COVIDs coming to our sites now. Hope they don't get sidelined as the ME community have been /are. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. I think, you know, what the medical profession is sometimes not very good at doing is if we don't know, we're not very good at telling people we don't know. And sometimes I think there is a lot of stuff that we are learning, whether it be about post-viral syndromes, whether it be, you know, all sorts of stuff, ME, long COVID, even IBS, right? I think there's elements of IBS where it's just labelled as irritable bowel syndrome. Oh, don't worry about it. Nothing, no problem. It's just anxiety. It's just stress. But it wouldn't surprise me in the years to come as we're learning more about the gut-brain axis and the connection between our brains and our gut, that we could find out a lot more about this, right? So 81 people watching. I'm really watching in disbelief. Hello, Angela, you're right. I'm really disappointed to leave when 82 people are watching. Let's see what the time is. I've got maybe another couple of minutes. Those who are mentally ill and cognitively impaired are being thrown to the lions, Fiona. That's awful to hear. I just think it also means it's up to all of us to kind of stick up and stand up for the most vulnerable in society to make sure that they have a voice. And what Med Media has always been a bit of a soapbox for people, not just me. I'm fortunate in the sense that I do every now and again go on Sky, and I got that platform. But what I try to do with What Med Media is try and give it to be a bit of a village soapbox, 21st century equivalent, right? So I'm just scrolling back, seeing if there's any questions. While you're there, tell me where you're watching from, what's it like where you are, what's your thoughts on the press conference that's buried in the kind of daytime TV schedules today. And I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts. So I will check on this in the evening. I've got to go out, carry on cycling, do a quick call as well. Really interested to hear from you in terms of what it's like where you are. Please like, comment and share, as the kids over there very eloquently put. This is definitely new media. For those of you who've been following me for years, you'll remember about 4 years ago I did a video about disruptive innovation in media. And it would appear that, these kids are 5, 6, 7 years old, maybe a bit older, shouting like, share, comment straight away. This is how deeply ingrained social media has become to our culture, right? And this is also our biggest strength in this, right? So when we see people like Michael Gove coming out of Pret without a mask and gloves, and then Alok Sharma coming on and trying to defend the indefensible, that's fine, it will work for some people, but thankfully the future generations coming up, growing up with social media as their diet, where as soon as you say something that you lie or you manipulate the truth or you don't know your stuff, the greater public on social media will tell you straight away what that is, right? So any social media site, anyone that limits conversation, that avoids, that closes down discussion and debate, I would suggest is not worthy of your time. I can think about the number of people that have been blocked on What Med Media. Very, very few, if any, I think, in terms of, unless there's the odd absolutely appalling comment. But anyway, I'm going down a bit of a tangent. We will get through this together. We are making a difference. We've reached 1.2 million people over at its peak at lockdown. On the Super Saturday video, the one that I put out in terms of saying don't make Super Saturday be Sickbed Sunday, and you, the audience, actually said that it was make sure that it's not Suicide Saturday. That video went to 190,000 people because we spent $400 advertising it and getting it out to people on Facebook. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for watching. Please, 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 the 67 people that are now watching, keep kind of talking to each other in the comments. Let's start a really rich conversation going. It won't be Moira by Christmas, I promise you. They have to say that to give us hope. You might as well be kind of optimistic with you. I think if you look at realistic, if you look at the global picture, where you had last night or this morning, I read that Qantas have said that they're only doing New Zealand to Australia flights until March 2021. How on earth can anybody with any sense of, I don't know what the word is, but credibility say, it'll be over by Christmas? That was heavily caveated in terms of saying hopefully and if we continue to follow all this stuff. So it's still, not quite true about the public putting stories. Let's see, hold on. Right, huge numbers here, believe COVID. Jerry, where is that? I'd be really interested to hear, and it's a great point. But also it's not uncommon in terms of technology and stuff like this. I think the issue with this situation now is because we're more connected than ever. I think there's good to that, and I'd like to think that What Med Media provides a little bit of good to that, but there's also bad to that in the sense that those kind of nonsense kind of type conspiracy type theories can get oxygen. But then I think we also need to remember that in the 1900s, when they were doing protests about electricity causing death, that didn't seem to be the case, unless you obviously climb up an electricity pylon, in which case it obviously would be. Sarah, I'm in less carnax or vital acupuncture within the local lockdown to keep me able to eat. Terrifying. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that, Sarah. Wheelchair folks can't keep hands clean. They need support. I know they said that about World War One. I'm not sure what that is. We are finding visitors from the UK not wearing masks and gloves when they arrive in Spain. It's very disturbing. Ron, all we can do is shame people into making sure that they do it, I think. I think it's really interesting. Like, lots of people are talking about masks being the interface or the epicenter of where this becomes a social issue and a societal issue. I think that's really, really interesting. you will know on the day, actually, that news broke that Boris Johnson went into ITU. Those of you who watch the page will know that, firstly, I did a video in my garden where I was explaining why I was wearing a mask at that point. So bear in mind, that's April 2020. I'm not exactly sure what the day was, but the day that Boris went into hospital, I did a video in my garden explaining to you guys why masks were important, right? And then it's become that from April until, what is it now? July, end of July, 24th of July, they're talking about making sure that it's mandatory in shops. Interestingly, in Bahrain, you could go out and exercise with a mask, but you have to wear masks all the other time. Germany had masks right from the beginning, as did many places in the Far East, right? Oh, okay, well, fair enough, sure. So yeah, we need to be really, really careful. We need to be really, really mindful of what we're doing, what's going on. Thank you so much for watching. I will put a crowdfunding link in the description. So if 77 people can donate £1, 100% of that money will go, I promise, towards, I've got to go, I'm getting called. 100% of people will go towards, hold on. Hey, let me call you in 1 second. I'm just finishing a live. Thanks. So 100% of that money will go towards ads, I promise you. I've got the data plans, I've got the kit, I've got the knowledge. I'm not going to charge you for my time because I'm doing it anyway, and I'm doing it as a thank you in terms of the amount of funding that I've had over my career, whether it be medical degree, medical education, masters, MBA, or the MD, which Hull York Medical School are now funding, which I'm eternally grateful for, and that is looking at the role of media in the communication during a global pandemic. So I thought topical at least. So thank you very much for your time. Please do comment, keep chatting to people in the stream. Get to know everybody in the comments. I will check on this later. Can you do your donations by PayPal? Would be so much easier. I haven't set it up yet. I don't know. The reason that I've done it via GoFundMe, not Just Giving, sorry, GoFundMe, is because it's basically a case of trying to provide an audit trail so I can show all the money that's come in is into that. It's in a separate bank account, and then all the bank statements is literally all the ins from GoFundMe and all the outs to Facebook for ads. So we are making a difference. I'll put some ads behind this. I'll update the link in terms of the place where you can add it. We've had some great donors and we've had some big donors, and we've got lots of other people helping as well. So everybody, from whether you can donate £1 or £100, it will all make a difference. It'll all make a difference, and I look forward to seeing you really, really soon. Kyle, you're absolutely welcome. It's a pleasure. Thank you for watching. Please share it with your mates. Please chat to everybody, and I'll check in with you guys really, really soon. Cheers. Take care. See you later. Bye.